In alhamdulillah, wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our hadith class for tonight. And tonight we are continuing with the hadith from the book entitled Imitations, Prohibited Imitations in Islam. And this is a book written by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli, where he addresses certain behaviors or certain actions that fall into imitations. And as we spoke about yesterday, a lot of Muslims do not understand what it means to imitate something. Who can tell us what does it mean to imitate something? Can anyone tell us? What is the Islamic definition of imitating something? Anyone? Come on, somebody.
Is to specifically done something for like a gender, like example, like if something is specifically done for a female, men should not doing the same thing, or vice versa.
Exactly. To imitate something is to do something that is specific to that thing or that group or that person. So, for example, we're speaking about hadiths. We're covering in the book the chapter of imitation of the Shayateen. So what does it mean when we are going over hadiths addressing imitations of the Shayateen? What does that mean? What are we doing? I mean, these are actions that are specific to the devils. Does everybody understand? Things that are specific to the devils, things that they do. And our Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, commanded us to be the opposite, of the devils. Okay? So, with that said, let's put the hadiths up on the screen for tonight's discussion. Let me start by sharing it with the people here. Let me go to this and then this. Okay, everybody should be able to see. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Before I even go to that, hold on. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Okay. Before I even go to that, I have to share it on YouTube. I'm sorry. Let's get ready to start the class. It didn't even put it up here. I'll say everybody, inshallah, on YouTube should be able to see the PowerPoint now. And let's start it. So again, for those of you who have not yet purchased the book, this is the book, a picture of the book. That's how it looks. The Prohibited Imitations. The Prohibited Imitations. Okay, and you can get it by going to atlionline.com. That's a picture of Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli. He's the one that authored the book. And then there's yours truly. So let's take a look at the hadiths that address imitation of the devils. And he starts off tonight with spreading mischief and crime during the nighttime. For those of you who don't know, the biggest jinn, the worst jinn, they come out at night. They come out after Maghrib, after the sun sets. That's the meaning of that hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever Maghrib comes in, after the call for Maghrib is pronounced, bring your children in the house, close your doors, close the windows, and put the tops on your containers, because that's when the Ifrit, and who are the Ifrit? The Ifrit are the most dangerous of the jinn. They come out after Maghrib and they spread mischief. They can't unlock a door. They cannot open a window. They can't eat food that's been covered up. And so when the prophet said, close your windows and doors and bring the children in, you only do it until after Maghrib. When the time for Maghrib ends, then you can open your doors back up. You can open your windows back up and let the children go back outside. And the source of that hadith is Sahih Bukhari. But a lot of Muslims don't understand the meaning of it. They think that means we got to come home, be in the house, and can't leave the house. No, you can come in at Maghrib and then go back out when it's time for Isha. It's a protection. It's not saying it's haram to leave the house. It's not saying it's haram to not do those things. Remember that. Okay, so let's take a look at this. The prophet, oh, here it is. This is the hadith. The prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the night falls, stop your children from going out because the devils spread out at that time. But when the hour of the night has passed, that means when Isha comes in, then you can release the children and close the doors and mention Allah's name, because Allah, this is at Maghrib, because Shaitan cannot open a door. And again, mention Allah's name. So this is the hadith that I was just explaining. I thought he was using a different hadith, but this is the hadith that he used, and his source of it, like I told you, shows how I memorized the hadith by heart. Good job, Layla. What's the source? Bukhari. Okay, that's a Bukhari hadith. So that's what this hadith is speaking about, because the Ifrit come out at night and they spread mischief and crime. So now, how does that relate to our topic? Well, imitation. How many people do you know go out at nighttime? They stay home in the day, but then when nighttime arrives, they go out and steal and rob, commit crime at nighttime so they can get away with it. This is imitating the devils. This is what the jinn do. So if you're one of those people who commit crimes at nighttime, you're nothing but a person who's imitating something that's specific for the devils. So it's a wonderful hadith for us to ponder. Also, another imitation. One of the things that the devils do is decrease your morality. One of the companions says that he heard the prophet say, the devils sit on the paths of the son of Adam, waiting for him. He sits waiting for him in the path of Islam and says, will you accept Islam and leave your religion and the religion of your forefathers? But the son of Adam will disobey him and accept Islam. Then he will sit waiting for you again. If you are trying to migrate, he will say to you, are you immigrating and leaving behind your land, your family? And the one who immigrates is like a horse tethered to a peg, but the person will ignore the shayateen and immigrate. And then the shayateen, the devils, will come to you again and say, are you going to fight in the way of Allah? Even though you may lose your life and your money, you will fight and be killed. And your wife will end up remarrying, and your money will be taken away and divided. But the believer won't listen to this. In other words, what this hadith is speaking about is how what we talked about in our 6 o'clock class. Every day of our life is a struggle against our shayat, the devil that's assigned to our heart. That devil will whisper into your heart for you to disobey Allah, for you to do things that contradict what Allah says. Okay? For those of us who don't listen, alhamdulillah. But believe it or not, a lot of people do listen. They won't immigrate. You know that you live in a place, like I got one of the new shahadas here. One of the new brothers tells me, Brother Edward, he lives in Miami. Where's Miami? Miami, Florida. Miami, Florida is one of the hot spots in America. It's so hot down there that the women walk around naked. The women walk around in their underwear. with just their bikini, a bra on and a pair of pants. Okay, with all them Brazilian butts and fake hair weaves and plastic surgeries done to look like the Kardashians. So like the brother says, it's hard for a Muslim man to live there and be surrounded with that. So you make plans to move. I'm going to leave Miami. I'm going to move to another part of Florida or another part of America where I'm not tempted to fornicate. But when you make that decision, your personal jinn will do everything to try to get you to stay. He'll tell you, no, you grew up here. No, this is your life. This is your place, because your jinn wants you to fall into the sin. So this hadith is speaking about how our devil sits on the path of righteousness, trying to prevent us from walking that path. He tries to get us to take a different direction. Okay? So we have to be careful of the evils of the jinn. And also, this is what Dr. Asim will be discussing with everyone on Saturday for your class with Dr. Asim. The topic is, how do you control your nafs? How do you control your desires? Your personal jinn and the human soul are criminal, and they're going to try to seduce you to give in to the temptations around you. Are you going to give in? And just like the devil does this, he tries to decrease your morality. We got humans who do the same thing. How many of you know Muslims who are bad? They're toxic. They're trying to seduce you to smoke cigarettes, to do drugs, to be like them, because they're sinful in their actions. They want you to become sinful too. So we have to be careful of that, guys. People who try to call people to sin, these are people that are imitating the devils. And this hadith is authentic. It's a Nasai hadith. Okay? Also, another thing that the devils do, they try to confuse you when you're fighting on the battlefield. Aisha, radiallahu anha, tells us on the day of the battle of Uhud, when the pagans were defeated, Shaitan called out and said, "O servants of Allah, beware of the army that's coming up behind you." And when they heard that, the Muslims on the front line fought with the Muslims in the back line, thinking that they were pagans. You see that? This is a trickery that Shaitan will do. He'll have you thinking that the person standing behind you is an enemy, when in reality it's not. And when he said that, one of the companions looked behind him and saw his father being attacked by the Muslims and said, "Oh Allah, that's my father. That's my father." He was calling out to the Muslims at Uhud, telling them, "That's my father y'all are fighting." But the people didn't hear them. They did not stop until they killed him. But alhamdulillah, Hudayfa was strong in his faith. He understood that this was a ploy, an antic that Shaitan did, because to try to destroy the Muslims. And alhamdulillah, Hudayfa forgave the people for that and continued to do good until he died. So how many of you knew this? This is a Bukhari hadith. This is what happened at the Battle of Uhud. When Shaitan, Iblis, saw the angel Jibreel and the other angels riding towards him, he used trickery. He took on the form of a man, and he screamed out at the Muslims saying, "Look at the back, look at your back, your enemy is coming." And of course, when you're fighting and all that sand and stuff is flying, you can't see. You just turn around to defend yourself. And they didn't know they were fighting against their own men. So this is what Shaitan does. How many of you know human beings who do this? How many of you do that? You would try to use trickery against your brothers and sisters in faith. You'd use trickery to try to get us to fight each other and be confused with each other. This is what Shaitan does. And for those of us who follow in his footsteps and create drama to confuse us, you're nothing but a person that's imitating Shaitan. Okay. Also, we have to remember that Shaitan swore an oath. When Allah forgave Adam, Shaitan became angry and he swore an oath. He said, I will mislead them. I will delude them, and I will give them empty hopes, and I will order them to do things that contradict what you tell them to do, Allah. And whoever takes Shaitan as a guardian over Allah has surely suffered a tremendous loss. Shaitan made that oath after Allah forgave Adam that he will use every trick up his sleeve to try to get us to do things that contradict what Allah says, to make things lawful that Allah made haram, such as music, such as alcohol, such as sex out of wedlock, such as dating. That's the thing today. How many of you got boyfriends and girlfriends? You know this is haram. How many of you brothers are leading women on? You know in Islam, we're supposed to get married. There's no courtship in Islam. But a lot of you brothers like to lead women on, promise that you're going to marry them, and you leave them hanging and hanging for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, causing those women, to lose their way, causing those women to fall into sin because women are weak with their emotions. When you stir up the sex in a woman, it's hard for her. It's hard for her to put it back down because Allah created women differently than men. Whereas you brothers go down, we stay up. But instead of you marrying these women, you're leading them on, leaving them hanging. And the women are falling into sin. The women are losing themselves, losing their faith, losing hope. You're giving them empty hopes. You're deluding them. How many of you brothers are doing this? Well, guess what? You brothers are wicked. You brothers are cruel. You brothers are falling and are imitating Shaitan. And you need to stop doing that to women. Don't play with marriage. Either marry her or keep it moving. SubhanAllah. Also, listen to this. Allah says in the interpretation, the meaning, it is only Shaitan who frightens you with his supporters. But don't fear them. Instead, fear me if you are indeed believers. Listen to what Sheikh bin Baz said about this. He said Shaitan tries to make people fear his supporters. He tries to ingrain into people's hearts the fear. How many of my Muslim women here don't wear hijab? And if I ask you, why come you won't wear hijab? You say, oh, Sister Layla, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what the people are going to say about me. I'm afraid of my neighbors making fun of me. I'm afraid of my classmates teasing me. That's Shaitan. Shaitan casts fear into people's hearts. How many of you know Muslims who do that? You want to make people afraid of somebody when they really shouldn't fear that person. Listen to what Imam Fawzan said. He said scaring, frightening through his allies means that Shaitan tries to make plans to cast fear in your hearts. to make you fear the unbelievers. The same way that Shaitan has his allies. Remember that Allah has his too. So we have to be careful. Okay? Also, another thing that Shaitan does is he causes marital issues. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that Iblis, this is the dalil for what I told y'all yesterday. And the source of this is Sahih Bukhari. Iblis sets his throne on the water and he sends forth his army of soldiers to tempt mankind. The one who is closest to him is the one that causes the most temptation. One of them will come and say, I did this. When Shaitan will say, oh, that was nothing. Then another will come and say, I did that. Shaitan will say, that's nothing. Then finally, one will come and say, I caused a man to divorce his wife. And that's a person that Shaitan will thank. That's a person that Shaitan will bring close to him and crown him and say, you've done a great thing. And you will also find this hadith in Muslim as well. And you will also find this hadith in Muwatta and Tirmidhi too. So we have to be careful of this, guys. We have to be careful. How many of us cause marital problems? How many of us will cause one another to divorce? You're jealous of that sister over there. You're jealous of that brother over there. This is a big problem today. Divorces. Listen to what Abu Umayma said. He said, Shaitan will come to you in bed after your family has covered you and wished you a good night. And then he throws sticks and stones or other things on you to make you angry with your family. And whenever you feel that, you should not get angry with your family, because this ain't nothing but the work of Shaitan. What is this hadith talking about? This hadith is speaking about how many of us go to bed and maybe it gets hot, just like now. It's hot in the house. Or maybe the wind will blow and something will come through the window, like a bee bit me today because I had my window open. Okay? Instead of you realizing that this happened, your family had nothing to do with it, you'll get up out the bed and get mad at your family. You'll get an attitude with them. You'll take out your frustration with them. This happens in families all the time. You're mad because you failed an exam at school. So you take it out on your siblings. You had a rough day at work. Even though your wife did nothing to you, she cooks a nice meal for you and tries to be good to you. You sit there and abuse her. You yell at her, treat her badly. This is Shaitan. The main job is to destroy families, break up marriages. How many of you brothers can't control yourself? So you go out seeking number 2, 3, or 4. And you end up attracted to some woman, one of those birth the butt women. The troglodytes. That seems to be the thing, those birth the butt women. Birth the butt tells you, I'll marry you, but I'll marry you if you divorce your other wife. And she uses her birth the butt to try to tempt you. Listen to what the prophet said. He said, no woman should ask for the divorce of her sister just to take her place. She should instead marry the man without trying to cause dissension between him and his wife. But this is a big phenomenon happening today. A lot of women with those big Bertha butts, stepping up to the plate, trying to get a man to divorce his wife just so she can take his place. This is Shaitan. And for women who do that, you're imitating Shaitan. Finally, we have this hadith where a dark-cheeked woman said, what does it mean by dark cheek? That means she was a shy woman. That's why you have to know the fusha. Oh, I figured this hadith out on my own. Okay, I read it in the fusha and understood what it meant. Went to the prophet, and she said, by Allah, O prophet of Allah, the women share their marital secrets with each other. And the men do it too. They brag and boast about what they do with their wife, what they do with their husband at night. The prophet said, don't do this, because whoever does do that is like a devil who meets a female devil on the side of the road. And after he has his way with her, he leaves her hanging there on the road. How many of us know men and women that do that? Look at Facebook. Look at Facebook. I look at a lot of you sisters. Y'all posting up on Facebook what you and your husband do. I was looking on there yesterday. Some sister, I don't know her, but she's on my friends list. I guess her husband took her to the mountains or something. She had a picture of the bed with roses on it, roses on the floor. And then she even took a video of the tub with roses in it and the candles on it. And then she had a video of herself on it, subhanAllah, talking about, oh, look what my baby doing for me. You know, that ain't nobody's business. Why would you share your escape with your husband with with other people? You're nothing but a female devil. And after that husband of yours has his way with you, you'll probably be in divorce court a month from now, because you know they get rid of women. They easy come, easy go. You know, we shouldn't do that. We shouldn't go around bragging and boasting about what goes on behind closed doors in our intimate relationships with our spouses. But I see a lot of you women doing that. Y'all got pictures all over your Facebook pages of you and your husband, what he did for you, what he bought you, what you bought for him, and all this dumb stuff. This is haram. This is imitating the devils. This is not how a righteous woman behaves, nor is it how a righteous man behaves. I try to limit any pictures of my family and me. I don't have a husband, probably never will, but I try to limit my pictures of my children and grandkids. I don't put none of that crap on Facebook, because it ain't nobody's business. And people can make hassle on you. People can destroy your marriage, because that's what the devils amongst mankind do. They try to destroy your marriages, destroy your dawah, destroy your websites, destroy you. So we have to be on guard. So mashallah, these are excellent hadiths that Sheikh Atlee put together. And the next time we meet for this class, which will be next week, we're going to go over more things that we do, more behaviors or more actions that we do as Muslims that fall in the category of imitating the devils. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Any questions or comments? And for all my kids out there, my Muslim kids, please, all the girls, wear hijab. Keep wearing your hijabs. Don't allow your fear of what the other people say about you stop you from obeying Allah. That's what the devil wants you to do, to disobey Allah out of fear of man. Don't fall into that game. All right, go ahead. Any questions? Go ahead.
What page was that?
I don't remember. I think I started on 42. Yeah, page 42 of the book, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, hold on for a second.
He ended on 49.
Okay, hold on for 1 second. I'm getting ready to end my class. Hold on. Okay, guys, if there's no other questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, inshallah, I'm going to end my class for tonight. Supana kala huma wa bihamdika, ashadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.